Hello, I'm Neil Nunes with the BBC News. Severe weather and flash flooding in the northeastern United States has now killed at least 45 people. In Pennsylvania alone, emergency service workers said thousands of rescue missions had been carried out. More now from Peter Bowes.
The catastrophic flooding caused by the remnants of Hurricane Ida came out of the blue and caught New Yorkers off guard. Streets were turned into rivers. Many of those who died perished in their basements, unable to escape. With the death toll still rising in New Orleans after Hurricane Ida struck with its full force on Sunday, and 50,000 people evacuated from parts of Northern California because of a massive forest fire this week, America is feeling the full wrath of extreme climate-related events.
A British-born member of the Islamic State group has pleaded guilty to multiple charges in the United States of conspiring to abduct and murder hostages in Syria. Alexander Cote faces a maximum penalty of life in prison. From Washington, Namia Iqbal.
Alexander Cote was brought to the US last year to face charges connected to the murder of Western hostages. The hostages included the journalists James Foley and Steven Sotloff. A second man, El-Shafi El-Sheikh, is also on trial, but there's no word as to whether he has reached a plea deal. The pair, alongside Mohammed Emwazi and another man who is now in jail in Turkey, were nicknamed the Beatles by prisoners because of their English accents. Emwazi died in a US drone strike in Syria 6 years ago.
Reports from Afghanistan's Panjshir Valley say there is heavy fighting taking place between Taliban forces and resistance militants in the area. Afghanistan's former Defense Minister General Bismillah Mohammadi said thousands of Taliban fighters had launched attacks at entrances to the valley. Panjshir is the only Afghan province which hasn't fallen to the Taliban. President Biden has visited U.S. troops wounded in last week's suicide bombing at Kabul airport. 15 Marines are being treated at the Walter Reed Military Hospital in Maryland. The Congolese Environment Minister says nearly 4,500 people have fallen sick in the south of the country following a toxic leak from a diamond mine in neighboring Angola. Eve Bazaiba said 12 people had died. She gave more details at a news conference.
From the
31st of July, the residents of Kasai, the ones living in Chikapa and from Kamonia and downstream, noticed the dead fish. Tons of dead fish floating on the river. It attracted everyone's attention, and then their first reflex was to take the fish.
Ms. Bazaiba said the DRC would ask for reparations for the damage caused. BBC News. A new study shows that rising global temperatures could actually be making some parts of the world far colder in winter. Researchers found warming in the Arctic disturbs a circular pattern of winds known as the polar vortex, allowing extremely cold weather to flow down to the United States. This was seen in Texas in February, when a severe freeze killed dozens and prompted the collapse of the power grid. The first televised election debate of Canada's Snap Election campaign has been taking place ahead of the poll on September the 20th. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is facing three other party leaders, including that of the main opposition Conservative Party, Erin O'Toole. Jessica Murphy has this report.
Mr. Trudeau has struggled to make the case for why he called an election 2 years early, even as Canada entered its fourth pandemic wave. So there was a lot at stake for the Prime Minister and Liberal leader in the first televised debate of this short 35-day campaign. Polls indicate his party is losing ground as the campaign unfolds amid rising COVID cases, a bumpy economic recovery, and Canada's widely criticized Afghanistan evacuation efforts. The party leaders sparred over vaccine mandates, pandemic recovery measures, and whether an election was necessary. But it's yet to be seen whether Mr. Trudeau's performance will change his chances.
2 U.S. car makers have announced more cuts in production because of a global shortage of microchips that's been exacerbated by the pandemic. General Motors has said that more than half its North American plants will stop making vehicles for the next 2 weeks. Ford also says it's stripping back production in September. Its sales are down by a third compared to the same period last year. New vehicles are fetching record prices in the United States because of a lack of supply. That's the latest BBC World News.